Tax day is tomorrow, and if you find yourself paying Uncle Sam this year, now is the time to contact Grace Advisory Group for next year. Not only do they specialize in taxes, but they can also help plan your retirement investments and goals. Joining me now is Bob Grace, president and founder of Grace Advisory. Good morning.
Good morning, Carly.
I know a lot of people kind of panicking. Oh, they have to pay this year. I remember the first time I had to pay. It's never any fun. But you say now is a good time to go ahead. I know it's early if we're talking about next year, but go ahead and really focus, especially if you had to pay this year.
Well, tax planning really runs 365 days a year.
Yeah, the truth.
And we focus our practice on retirees or those soon to retire. And tax planning for retirees is significantly different than when you've got a job. You can write off your office and expenses for lunches, and that just all goes away when you retire. But removing dividends, interest, and capital gains from your tax return, which is done, and if it's done properly, can significantly reduce your tax liabilities.
Are those rules, though, kind of on, just like everything else with tax, they're changing all the time, so you kind of need somebody to help gauge you through that, I would imagine.
It's not a do-it-yourself process.
Yeah.
It's almost like ordering a scalpel mail order and trying to do surgery on yourself. You just don't want to do that. You need a specialist to help you.
Yeah. Well, what were some of the biggest tax shocks you think that people were seeing?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you retire, if you start taking your Social Security, many people are going to have 85% of their Social Security subject to taxation. And people think, my golly, I paid tax in this, why should I have to do it again? But proper planning can reduce and sometimes even eliminate that tax liability. But again, you need a specialist to help you do that, somebody who focuses on retirement planning.
Talk a little bit about how retirement planning and because they really go hand in hand, and you need somebody that kind of knows both sides of it, don't you?
Well, absolutely. When you're working, you've got tax deductions, business deductions, but when you retire, your income primarily comes from pensions, it comes from Social Security, you may have saved some money, and you need to establish that money so that it's guaranteed to come not just as long as the money lasts, but as long as you last.
Is that the biggest issue, too, that's changing? I was talking about the number one issue I was going to ask you with baby boomers. Is that what it is?
Well, it sure is. The first fear, and this is the subject of a recent study, is not dying too soon, it's living too long and running out of money. And we design programs that are contractually guaranteed, I don't care if you live to 150, that you can never, ever run out. And, of course, that allows you to sleep at night.
Yeah. Is it ever too late to come in and see you guys? If we're talking about a baby boomer that didn't start saving, or they're looking to retire soon, is it ever too late?
Well, it's never too late. Doing nothing is the worst thing to do. So you need to come in. We don't charge for consultations. We're more than happy to sit down with people, and we can't help everybody, but those we can usually walk out with a smile on their face.
Well, I was just going to ask you that because I think it's such an overwhelming process. It's a scary process for a lot of people to do. I'm assuming that's why they don't come in and see you guys. They just kind of put their head in the sand.
Well, they do, and that's never the right thing to do. Nobody walks down the street looking into store windows saying, I'm going to go buy some tax planning.
Yeah.
But if you hire a professional, you can certainly save yourself a lot of worry.
Is it important to have a steady, guaranteed income in retirement?
Only if you want to eat every month, not just every other month, without question. And when you're working with assets that by definition bounce up and down, and basically we're talking about the stock market, particularly in these volatile times, it's difficult to provide a guaranteed lifetime income. But we have vehicles, tools, and strategies that absolutely, again, contractually guarantee that.
I think some people, do you even know how much you need for retirement? It's certainly a month, by month or week. Is that what you can help people figure out too, is what you need?
We help them develop a cash flow process. We sit down and work with the numbers. Most people do not know what they need, but once they've left our strategy, they do know. We are able to provide that and also address another very big issue, and that's inflation. I think the ladies, when they go into the vegetable department of the grocery store, acknowledge inflation is here right now.
They do, I know. Well, a ton of advisors reference past performance. Is there a way to predict what may happen in the future? I know that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, not unless you're Karnak. Johnny Carson could do that when he had his show, but unless you've got a crystal ball. But there are strategies that can take into account current events. Wall Street uses words like Monte Carlo and logarithms and that kind of thing, but we use a process that actually looks at what if a plane goes down in the Indian Ocean, what if China changes their policies, and we can put some mathematical logarithms on that and give you a lot better prediction. Nobody can predict the future, but I think using current events is more appropriate than taking a look at what happened yesterday, because in fact there is actually no connection whatsoever with what happened yesterday and with what is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, you have two special offers you want to extend to people. These are great offers. The first is a free copy of your book, which is so cool. Explain what's in this book, how to make sure your money lasts as long as you do. Isn't that the truth?
Well, that's the worry of most people, and we've tried to write it in very plain English, not a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo, so people can read it and understand it. And we're going to give a copy of that book away. Now, if they don't want the free copy, they can get on Amazon and do it, but it's a whole lot easier to stop in and get that copy.
And then your second offer, you want to just offer a free analysis, which I think is, you know, critical.
We do a stress test on a client's current portfolio. We apply that strategy I talked to before, taking a look at current events, and we try to find out what our clients think is going to change the world, and we apply those strategies to trying to determine what that might do or might not do to their portfolios.
Yep, awesome. Well, Bob, thank you for being here this morning. You can retire with grace. It is possible. We appreciate you, the special offers you extended as well.
Always a pleasure, Carly.
All right,
Thank you.
Look forward to having you back.
Thanks.
Up next.